Hello, welcome to a live edition of Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast of your favorite tanking team in the Bay Area. On today's episode, Erik Karlsson scores 2 more points, putting him up to 98. The Sharks continue to sink, and whatever you guys want to discuss. So, all that and more on today's episode of Locked On Sharks.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm your host, JD Young, contributor at San Jose Hockey Now. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts. And of course, make sure you're following along on YouTube as well. So that way you know when I go live or whenever the new episodes come out. So the Sharks stink. I don't want to talk about the Sharks stinking against the Avalanche. That's why I wanted to do another live show. That way I can answer your questions, whatever you guys want to talk about. I didn't want to plan an episode, and let's do that. So, but first, before we get into that, I do want to talk about our beloved Erik Karlsson with another 2-point night tonight, putting him at 98 points, the second most points in a Sharks franchise history, behind one Joe Thornton when he won the Hart and at 114. But what Erik Karlsson is doing this year continues to be just absolutely bonkers. The assist he had on the Steven Lorentz goal, the man just taking souls, doing whatever he wants to one of the best teams in the NHL. Literally won the Stanley Cup last year. And would you be surprised if at this end of everything, if Colorado is holding up the cup again? Erik Karlsson just doing what he wants on the ice. Steven Lorentz, great play by Steven Lorentz, got to the open area, but Erik Karlsson did 99% of that goal. And Lorentz, all he had to do was just kind of just guide it in. I don't know how Karlsson found him there. It's just his vision and his ability to just find guys and make things happen. Even on the Karlsson goal, right? You go back to the first period and they do, Sharks do a good job of kind of setting up, and Karlsson just left alone and knows exactly where to go. Just so great. I love you, Erik Karlsson. It's going to be really sad when you're playing for another team next year. But yeah, just absolutely bananas from Erik Karlsson. Deserves to win the Norris. I don't know how you cannot give him the Norris. He's at 98 points. I don't see Erik Karlsson being held off the score sheet for 4 straight games. I'm just it's absolutely bonkers what he's doing. I will peek behind the curtain. Way back before the season started, I was doing my bold predictions, and one of my bold predictions I had kind of tossed around with Kyle was, I was like, okay, 90-point Timo. I was like, should I be bold and say point per game Karlsson? And Kyle was like, if you think the Sharks are going to be bad, I don't see you can have a 90-point Timo and a point per game Karlsson. 100. If you had told me 100-point Karlsson was going to happen, I would have said you are a liar, and the Sharks are probably going to make the playoffs. But they threaded the needle of being super, super bad, and Erik Karlsson being super, super good. So I know he had some defensive miscues tonight. Again, the Avalanche, they just put so much pressure on you where you have to be perfect defensively. Doesn't matter who you are, and that's what they do to you. They have so many people. Every line that comes out can score, and you just cannot take a break against this Avalanche team, and they'll make you pay. Sharks did a good job last game of kind of hanging in there with them, and Kaapo Kähkönen kind of stole that point for them. Tonight we saw why Colorado is just such a freaking monster of a team, and why the Sharks are going to be picking probably fourth in the draft coming up. So, yeah. Other than that, I mean, there's really not too much else to take away. I thought Thrun looked pretty good. I know he had the turnover that led to, I think it was the first goal, where he just got I think he tried to do a little too much there, got a little too much pressure on him, and got his pocket picked. But, I mean, you have to be excited with Thrun, just how calm he looks all the time. And once he gets a full off season and going into next year, get some actual chemistry with his line mates and with the offense, and can learn the system a little bit more. I think Henry Thrun is just going to be a competent NHL defenseman that you're going to be able to rely on for the next, 5, 6, 7, 8 years type of situation. So, he looks really, really good. Almost scored a goal tonight. You can see the offense there. I think as he continues to get a little bit more confident, isn't playing the Colorado Avalanche every night. But yeah, I think Thrun is going to be a very, very solid pickup for the Sharks going forward. So very, very excited about his future. The top six, I think tonight was a big disappointment from them. The bottom six looked really good. The Steven Lorentz, or Raska, I thought, you saw whatever Raska stepped on the ice. You saw Raska doing Raska things tonight. Made some good opportunities there offensively, but I think though for the top six, though, I think it was really disappointing. You felt like maybe it was going to be a hurdle night, especially the way he started the game. Had that nice kind of give and go play with Karlsson, and he hits the post. But it just, had another good chance. But then you just kind of see the talent of Colorado take over. And I think David Quinn said it in the post-game press conference of, talent kind of takes over, wins out throughout time. And again, the Sharks did a good job the first game on Tuesday night to kind of keep it close. But Colorado's really good. And they don't even have Landeskog playing right now, or Cale Makar. So when those guys get back, if Landeskog gets back, I assume Cale Makar will be healthy for the playoffs. They're probably just being very, very precautious with him right now. But if they get those guys back, watch out, Western Conference. I think a Bruins, I know it would be kind of chalk, but a Bruins Avs, sign me up. That would be a ton of fun for the Stanley Cup. So before I see a lot of Gushchin talk. We'll talk Gushchin about what he did this week. Just absolutely insane. And then answer some of your questions. I think there was a couple draft questions in there as well. Before we do that, though, I do need to take a quick break, talk to you guys about our friends over at Indeed. When you're drafting your fantasy team, do you ever wish you could handpick the best stars for your business team? If you're building your talent roster, you need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Don't spend hours on multiple job sites looking for candidates with the right skills when you can do it all with Indeed. Join over 3 million businesses worldwide using Indeed to hire great talent fast. Indeed knows when you're growing your own business, you have to make every dollar count. That's why with Indeed, you only pay for quality applications that match your must-have job requirements. Visit Indeed.com/lockedon to start hiring now. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application pricing not available for everyone. Need to hire? You need Indeed. All right, let's start answering some of you guys' questions because, again, I didn't really feel like kind of planning an episode. So I'm going to ask you guys to help the content boy make some content. Berserker says hi. Hi, buddy. All right. Let's start with Gushchin because also Gushchin cannot be stopped. What he's done this week, absolutely insane. The man, if you've missed out, he played 5 games in 6 days, including 3-3, has just absolutely produced, bouncing between the NHL and the AHL. Scores his first game on Saturday, first career goal in his first career game, Saturday night. Monday, he's playing, gets sent back down. He's playing in Coachella Valley. Looks playing top line minutes, does awesome Gushchin things, right? Tuesday gets called back up, has to go back to San Jose, he scored a goal on Mondays too, if I remember correctly. Tuesday, he goes back to San Jose, has to play in another NHL game. Beautiful assist on the Peterson goal. Just you see why he's so special on that play right there. Then gets sent back down, has to go from all the way down to San Diego, play in his third game in 3 days. His quote was, "I just love playing hockey. Let me play." This close to getting a hat trick in that game, just absolutely dominant for the Barracuda. Shout out Ozzy though. Ozzy starting to put things together here at the end of the season, but you have to be excited about Daniil Gushchin. Like, yeah, he's going to be so special for the Sharks. I love watching him play. I still think he starts next year on the Barracuda. Let him go, just dominate the AHL, burn it down. Give the Sharks a reason to bring him up and never send him back down again. Kind of like what they did with Eklund. I know a little bit different situation, but I would be let him go and just kind of finish kind of rounding out the rest of his game. You see that shot, you see how tantalizing it is. It's going to be, the Sharks aren't going to be good again next year. So let him continue to kind of figure out some of the other things. But man, I'm so excited for Daniil Gushchin. I'm this close to going to be pulling the trigger on a Gushchin jersey here, because I think he's going to be so special. He's going to be very good. So what else? Shout out Summoning Salt, buddy. You're the best. Thanks for your support. All right, let's see what else we got here. Rami Najar, I'm sorry if I screwed that up. If the Sharks get the 4th pick, do you pick Michkov? I think it's going to be either Karlsson or Michkov. If Michkov, whoever's there between the two, that's who I would pick. Personally, I like both those players. I was very, very certain it was going to be Karlsson going to be picked at number 3, but I think as we get closer to the draft, I know there's the whole Russian factor, right? Of of him maybe not coming over. I think that's overblown. Him not seeing him for 3 years. Again, most of these draft picks, right? You don't see for 3 years anyway, to be honest. We're just seeing the 2020 draft class start to kind of creep into the NHL, right? Borlo was a 2020, Gushchin was 2020. Those guys have played a combined 20 NHL games, something like that, come together. Like, okay, it's fine. If he steps in and he's as good as we expect him to be day one, what's the difference if he's developing in the AHL or developing in juniors or college or whatever? If he steps in and he's a potential, point per game player from day one, if it's a Kirill Kaprizov 2.0 type of situation, I don't care. As long as you kind of get assurance that he will be here, and I don't see why he wouldn't be here. Also, quick aside, really terrible story about his dad. If you haven't seen, apparently his dad just recently passed away. So feel for the kid. I know right now it's supposed to be kind of one of the most exciting times of his life, and I'm sure it's just going to be a struggle, tough kind of going through that. So, just my heart's with him, and I don't know how, losing your parents, I couldn't imagine. So I hope, hope he's got plenty of other supportive people around him that can kind of help him through this process right now. So anyway, some more good. Oh, here's a good one. In season 12, Homer versus Dignity, Homer plays the guitar left-handed while Bart plays the bass right-handed. Does someone get fired for that mistake? I don't know. Maybe it's the same thing with the xylophone question. All right. Are you okay with the Sharks finish? Christopher Lindsay asks, are you okay with the Sharks finishing the season on 29th? Or are you panicking like the other Sharks fans out there? I think it's surprising the Sharks are even still kind of in talks for Bedard. Again, I said the Sharks are going to be one of the 5 worst teams going into this season. You can go check the tape. Again, if you have a top 5 pick in this draft, you're going to be super happy. And I know missing out on Bedard is crushing, and you never know, right? You never know with the draft lottery, right? You never know. But if you walk away with Leo Karlsson, Michkov, Zach Benson, like, you're going to be super happy about your pick. And these guys are going to be the best prospect in the Sharks. They will pass whoever you pick here is going to pass William Eklund. It probably is your best prospect. You could maybe talk me into Eklund over Zach Benson. But if his upside is Braden Point, like, I would happily take Braden Point on the Sharks right now. You're going, like, I know the potentially missing out on Fantilli, who feels like a surefire thing, Bedard, who's a franchise-changing player. It stinks. It's tough. But again, you're going to be super happy with who you pick in the top 5. Like, you're getting an amazing player who would, in most drafts, be the first overall pick or be in contention for the first overall pick type of player. So, yeah, we talked about Gush half wall. He's the best. Gush and half wall hockey are both the best. So, let's see. Gush is gonna be a 30-goal guy. I could see it. You know, you could talk me into Gush being a 30-goal guy, especially if you get a guy like if you have a potential line of Eklund on one wing, Leo Karlsson down the center, and Gushchin on another wing, like, hell yeah, sign me up for that. That right there is, you have the creativity in Eklund, you have Leo Karlsson and his tenacity and his ferociousness, and he's kind of the big guy, and then Gushchin just sniping shots. Like, let's go. I think that is a beautiful, beautiful thing that we could be watching here in a couple of years. So before we finish up, continue to discuss some of your questions. I think there's some good question about trading up. Let's take a quick break. Talk to you guys about the friends over at FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are almost here. Now's the perfect time to download the FanDuel app, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 as bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, it's super easy to use. You can bet on everything from the money line to point scores and threes drained. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay. So don't miss the chance to get your no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/locked-on. Again, that's FanDuel.com/locked-on to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right. Metal Mario asks, thoughts on trading up? I would assume you're talking about the Devils pick, because nobody in their right mind is going to trade the first or second pick in this draft, right? Like, who's trading? Who wants to be the GM that trades away Connor Bedard? That's my question. I don't care. Like, if a GM, if Mike Greer was like, we'll give you like 5 first-round picks for Connor Bedard, which would you rather have? I'm taking Connor Bedard. It's, again, do you want a Connor McDavid and Austin Matthews? Do you want one of these special? I don't think you can be that GM who's like, guys, we got 5 first-round picks. And again, they're not trading 5 first-round picks, but you get what I'm saying. Nobody is trading away that spot. But with the Devils pick, I would be interested. You would probably, if you look at what Arizona did last year, right? So they traded away a late 1, a 2, and another 2 to move up from 29 to 11. The Sharks, they have the 1, they have the 2. They don't have kind of the other ammo to kind of move up to maybe that spot. But if a guy's falling that you really like, maybe like ASP, if he starts to slide, which I don't think it's going to happen, but if he starts to slide to like 15, 16, 17, I would be very interested in that. If you can know that you're going to be getting kind of 2 blue, like if you get a Leo Carlsson, Nishkov, whomever, and then you can get a guy who is projected as a top 10 player, but maybe it's starting to slide, I would sign up for that because you have a lot of, I know the Sharks, they are going through this rebuild, but you have a lot of pieces. You don't have a lot of blue chip players, right? We talk about Gushchin, and Gushchin's exciting and stuff. And he could, but he's a 3rd round pick who's developing very, very well. You turn around a guy like Ozzy, who is a 1st round pick, and he's starting to kind of find his, footing now. Robbins playing really well this season. Bordelo's, played really well in the HL, but none of these guys are like kind of these blue chip caliber talent. And you look at a team, look at who across the ice tonight, right? How many of Colorado's players are just blue chip? They're just better, more talented players than you. And I think that's where the Sharks, they have a lot of great pieces that would be complementary pieces on good teams. But they need more blue chip caliber guys. So I would do that if you feel like a guy like, whomever starting to slide, whatever, if you feel like that's a potential blue chip player who's starting to slide, I would do that. I think, though, with the way this draft is, I think there is going to be a lot like the 2020 draft, where I think there's going to be a lot of good players at the end of the end of the 1st round, beginning of the 2nd round, where you're going to be able to get a good player there type of situation. So I'm going to kind of dig into it a little bit more. But I'm planning on doing a whole episode and kind of looking at guys who could be there, what the trade packages would be, et cetera, et cetera. That's kind of my quick answer. So Corey on the Athletic did his top. Christopher asks, Corey on the Athletic did his top 20 prospects ranking for the Sharks. I'm wondering your current top 10. I'm going to do an episode on this. So come on. I don't want to give away all the content right away, but Eklund's number 1 right now. Eklund's number 1 right now. Probably just quickly off the top of my head. I would say Bordeleau 2. Gushchin, I guess you have to go Gushchin 3. I'm just going with guys who haven't really kind of played, I go with like the 50 game, if you played under 50 games in the NHL. Gushchin, I would say, is probably number 3 right now with the season he's had. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about it a little bit more. So that's my top 3 right now. So, somebody did ask a question about Mukhamadullin. Thoughts on Mukhamadullin's, Christopher again. Christopher asking all the questions. Right. Thoughts on Mukhamadullin's 4-point night up to 7 points in 8 games. I was texting with Halfwell the other day about Mukhamadullin. You can see he's getting more comfortable. Still reminds me a bit of a giraffe out there. Just he's very tall. So I think he's still getting used to his surroundings, getting used to his teammates, getting used to smaller ice. I think a full off season to kind of know you're going to be where you're going to be next year in the AHL, getting used to your teammates. I think since they partnered him with Knyzev, I think you're starting to see him improve a little bit and get more comfortable. Feeling better about his game than I did a couple weeks ago when he first kind of debuted. But I still think do not rush him. Let him. I would be surprised if he's playing NHL games early to mid next season. I think he's a little end of the year type of call up for the Sharks. And the Sharks blue line's kind of a log jam right now, which we'll get into this offseason as well. So, all right, a couple more questions. It's 2 a.m. for Chris in Canada. You're a trooper. So, yes. I'd rather be slotted 4th overall and have it almost guaranteed at Michkov than type of situation. So, yeah, again, you're going to be super, super happy with whoever you draft in the top 5. So, I would 100%, if I got a weird feeling Sharks will end up with Fantilli, I would, man, if the Sharks move up to 2, that would be absolutely amazing. I would be stoked. Yeah. A Carl trade could possibly get you a first. Then we're cooking with gas. So, last question. Blue Science talks about Knyzev. He's been super aggressive just last couple of games. I thought he's looked great, acting like a 4th forward. Yeah, I think he's really kind of found his game this year. I've always kind of liked him. Again, I know the blue line for the CUDA, the beginning, it's really weird. The blue line, the forwards at the beginning of the year were kind of like really healthy and the blue line struggled. And then it kind of flip-flopped. And now the blue line, there's like an abundance of players for the Barracuda. And so much so that they had to play 2 of them as forwards recently. While the forwards have been kind of decimated with injuries. But yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if he's fighting for an NHL job this training camp. That would be, again, I know the blue line is super, super kind of a logjam right now, but I don't know. There's something about Knyzev. I just don't put him and Knyzhov on the same pairing together. My brain can't handle that. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. We'll be back next week on Monday. So just a reminder, next week, only 3 episodes. I'll be on vacation on Thursday and Friday next week. Going to Zion. Looking forward to it. So, but thank you guys for, Rodney asked, Frozen Fury going. We will see. Probably not. I didn't realize it was a preseason game. So I don't know if I want to go the trek for Utah. I thought it was going to be like their opening game, but I don't know. We'll see. Probably not. I have plans with Rodney like a couple weeks later. So, yeah, that's going to be fun. But I don't know if I can get permission to do 2 things in the month from the missus. But anyway, we'll be back next week. Make sure you guys are following along wherever you get podcasts. And, of course, you can watch this bad boy on YouTube as well. You can listen, like I just said, wherever you get podcasts. I'm tired. Follow me on Twitter at MyFryHole. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Be back on Monday. And until then, bye, friends.